Here's why I would finance a C8 Corvette and actually make money from it. Today I'm going to be talking about three things. Number one, why I wouldn't lease or pay cash for a C8. Number two, why I would finance a C8 with some spreadsheet examples to back it up. Number three, buts. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, so I encourage you to talk to them before making any of these big decisions. In this example, I would plan to keep the car for a long time, say at least 5, maybe 10 years, and I would drive the shit out of it. Now, this example only works if two things are true. Number one, if I have $60,000 cash at my disposal, or number two, if I have a job that can cover the at least $1,000 a month for 5 years car payment, or be able to contribute $1,000 a month every month into my investment account. I'll talk more about that later. Also, we're going to ignore things like sales tax, insurance, registration, too many variables by state and market. So I would not lease a Corvette C8 for two reasons. Number one, I'm planning to keep the car long term, and leases are usually about 3 years. And also, I plan on driving the shit out of the car, and I plan on driving it everywhere, and those things usually don't jive well with leases. Here's why I wouldn't pay cash for the car. Now, on the surface, paying cash makes sense because I'll ultimately pay less for the vehicle, but it doesn't take into account the time value of money and opportunity cost. If I pay cash, that's an immediate $60,000 deduction from my account. But what if I take the $60,000, only put 10% down, invest the rest, and then use the money from my job every month to pay down the loan? What would that look like? So let's now run the numbers for two scenarios. Number one, how much money will I gain or lose if I pay cash and instead of a monthly car payment, I invest $1,000 a month for 5 years into an investment account? The MSRP is $60,000, I'm not doing a down payment, I'm not financing, and there's no loan payments, so I don't pay any loan interests, and the amount paid for the car in total is about $60,000. Now say at year 5, I want to sell the car. The car will have depreciated about $15,000, and if I paid cash, I would immediately lose $15,000. Not great, but also in this example, we were investing every month for those 5 years. Now let's look at the investment side. If I invested $1,000 a month, every month, and expected an 8% return in the stock market every year, my total gain on investment would be about $13,000, which would bring my total investment balance to $73,000. So while I would lose $15,000 on the sale of the car, because of my investment balance, I would have a gain of about $58,000. Now, if I did not do the investment, I would just lose $15,000. And number two, how much will I gain or lose if I finance the car at 3% APR for 60 months and immediately invest that $54,000 that I have left after the down payment? The MSRP is $60,000. I have a down payment of $6,000, meaning I finance $54,000. After the 3% APR for 60 months, I would end up paying about $4,000 in interest. And this would equate to an amount paid for the car of about $65,000. $5,000 more than if I paid cash. And again, it doesn't look so great if I go to sell the car at year 5, because the gain or loss, which is really a loss on the car, is almost $20,000, $5,000 more than if I paid cash. Now here's where it gets interesting and where the time value of money comes into play. Because if I invested that lump sum of $54,000 into the stock market that first year and then didn't invest anything else and just focused on making those monthly car payments via my job, my total gain on investment would be about $25,000, equating to my investment balance being $80,000. So then if you look at the total, where if I sold the car at year 5, I would lose about $20,000, but with my investment account growing to about $80,000, my true gain would be about $60,000, which is actually more than if I paid cash. Although the gain is not much more, it's still a gain, and I would rather have the $54,000 to invest on day one because of the power of compounding interest, as well as just being able to have more capital at my disposal. Now there's a lot of buts and other variables in this scenario, But I hope this got you thinking about whether you should pay cash or finance your next vehicle now that we've kind of talked about the time value of money and opportunity cost. If you want to see more of this content, please let me know, or see another example or scenario. I'm happy to run through the numbers, which was actually really fun for me, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.